Welcome, everyone, to another deep dive. Today, we're jumping back in time, really digging into the year 1960. Our source material calls it a transformative year in America, and that feels about right. Our mission here is to sift through the history, pull out those, key insights, the surprising bits, and really get a feel for what made 1960 tick. Think of it as your shortcut to understanding a really pivotal year that set the stage for so much.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. 1960 wasn't just, another year on the calendar. It was this convergence point for social shifts, economic momentum, major political changes. It really did lay the groundwork for the whole decade. We want to understand not just what happened, but maybe why it mattered so much then, and honestly, why it still matters now.
Okay, let's start unpacking that. Maybe begin with the economy, because that seems to underpin a lot of the other changes.
Absolutely. So 1960, the U.S. economy is still riding that post-war wave. Pretty stable, lots of growth.
And the average household income. The sources say about $5,600.
Right, $500-$600.
Which, sounds incredibly low to us now, doesn't it?
It really does. But you have to put it in context. That $5,600 actually represented a pretty decent level of comfort for many families back then. It fueled a growing middle class,
Right. It allowed people to buy things, participate in this expanding consumer culture.
Exactly. Like cars, for instance. A new car.
Yeah.
Maybe a Chevy Corvair or a Ford Falcon. Those were popular.
The compacts. More economical.
Yeah, the trend was shifting a bit. And one of those would cost around, $3,200.
Okay, so roughly half the average annual income, a bit more. Still, it meant car ownership was becoming much more widespread.
Definitely. And that changes everything. Commuting, where people lived, leisure time.
And speaking of where people lived, houses.
New homes were going for about $29,500 on average.
Wow. Under $30,000.
Yep, which obviously made buying a home achievable for many and just kept that suburban sprawl going.
Which really defined the look of America for decades.
It really did. And if you were renting, maybe $150 a month.
Okay, and day-to-day stuff, like groceries.
For a family of 4, the weekly grocery bill was around $70 or so. Supermarkets were becoming more common, more variety.
Huh. It paints a picture, doesn't it? A kind of accessible prosperity, maybe?
I think that's fair. For a significant part of the population, yes. And that economic stability, that relative comfort, it kind of creates the space for other things to happen.
Like pushing for change.
Exactly. It provides a foundation. And 1960 certainly had its share of significant shifts, especially politically.
Right, the big one being the presidential race, Kennedy versus Nixon.
One of the closest elections ever, just razor-thin margins.
And this is where things get really interesting, technologically speaking, too. Kennedy's youthful charisma.
It wasn't just charisma, though. It was how it came across on television.
Those televised debates, that was huge, wasn't it?
A massive turning point. Before that, it was mostly radio print. Now, suddenly, how a candidate looked, how they handled the pressure visually, that direct connection.
It changed campaigning forever. Image became so much more important.
Fundamentally, it set a new precedent for how elections would play out, how voters engaged.
Beyond the election, what else was stirring? Politically or socially?
Well, there were some major legal developments. The Supreme Court case, Boynton v. Virginia.
Right. Declaring segregation on interstate buses unconstitutional.
Yes. And that wasn't just a legal decision in a vacuum. It directly paved the way for the Freedom Rides the very next year, 1961.
So a real catalyst for the civil rights movement.
A powerful one. It showed how the legal system could be used to challenge segregation and how that could energize activism on the ground.
Any other big headlines from 60?
Another significant thing was establishing USI, the United States Agency for International Development.
Okay, so focusing more on foreign aid, diplomacy.
Exactly. It signaled this growing emphasis on America's role globally, especially, in the context of the Cold War, projecting influence through aid and development.
It's fascinating how all these threads connect. Let's shift gears a bit to culture. What was life sounding like or looking like on screen in 1960?
Good question. Culturally, it was sort of a mix of maybe comfort and aspiration.
How so?
Well, the #1 song for the year was Theme from a Summer Place by Percy Faith.
Oh, I know that one. Very lush, very romantic.
Exactly. An instrumental, super popular. Maybe it suggests people were looking for that kind of idealized romantic feeling amidst all the change. Bit of escapism.
Possibly. And on TV, what were people gathering around to watch?
The #1 show was The Andy Griffith Show.
Mayberry, a classic.
Right. That warm, funny look at small-town life. It wasn't just entertainment. It sort of embodied this ideal of community, decency.
Maybe a comforting contrast to the complexities bubbling up elsewhere.
Could be. It definitely resonated with a huge audience looking for that kind of family-friendly, reassuring programming.
And personal style. How did people dress? Did fashion reflect any of this?
Oh, definitely. Fashion always reflects the times, doesn't it? For men, you saw tailored suits, still quite classic, maybe around $75 on average.
Still pretty formal for work then.
Generally, yes. But also, more casual wear was coming in polo shirts, slacks, maybe costing around $40 for an outfit. So a mix of sophistication and emerging casual comfort.
And for women?
Dresses were still dominant, maybe around $60 on average. Popular styles included things like A-line dresses, bolder patterns. There was a definite youthful energy coming through.
A bit more freedom and optimism compared to the 50s, maybe?
I think so, yeah. Less rigid, perhaps. A reflection of that forward momentum we see in other areas.
Okay, so you've got the economy, politics, culture. What about the military aspect and maybe innovation? Any surprising developments there?
Well, on the military side, the context is still very much the Cold War. Monthly pay for personnel was around $375.
Which points to that ongoing need for a strong military presence, global tensions, and all that.
Right, but then you also have these interesting innovations popping up in daily life.
Like what?
Get this. 1960 saw the introduction of the first ECG machine electrocardiogram designed for home use.
Really? Home ECGs back then?
Yeah, it was revolutionary. Suddenly, people could monitor their heart's electrical activity themselves outside of a doctor's office. It was a huge step in, like, personal health monitoring.
Wow, that is surprising. Democratizing health data, in a way.
Absolutely. And on a lighter note, entertainment-wise, The Price is Right game show launched in 1960.
No way. The original.
The original. And it signaled a move towards more interactive TV, getting viewers involved, not just passively watching.
So even in entertainment, you see these shifts towards participation, new formats.
Exactly. Little innovations bubbling up everywhere.
So pulling it all together, 1960 really does feel transformative, like our source said. Economic growth, major political shifts, cultural evolution, even these tech advances.
It truly set the stage for the rest of the 60s, didn't it? So many seeds were planted.
We've covered a lot, taken quite the tour through 1960. As you've been listening, what stands out to you? What piece of this history maybe clicked or surprised you?
And maybe think about this. When we see all these changes packed into one year, how people campaigned, what they wore, how they took care of their health, the shows they watched, what does that tell us? What are those deeper, kind of subtle forces that push a society towards such big transformations? And, how might those same forces be working today? Something to think about.